Hello and welcome to the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast. I'm incredibly influential.
And I'm highly successful.
Today is it's just ticked over to Sunday, July 24th. We're recording this very late at night. Uh, I have someone I want to dedicate this episode to.
Oh
Um,
yeah?
I want to dedicate it to any to all the people who fucking pumped and dumped GameStop's stock because they just did some really fucking terrible shit recently. They released NFTs
Oh,
of
you know what? I did hear about this a little bit. They were doing like an NFT thing. What exactly was it?
the one that I saw that has pissed me off is they released an NFT of one of the victims of fucking 9/11. One of the people who jumped from the Twin Towers. They made a fucking NFT of that and they're selling it. And that is just so fucking supremely fucked up in so many ways. And I hope everyone involved in that whole thing goes to hell. Like everyone who signed off on that and was like, "Oh yeah, this is a good idea." I hope they all like burn in hell. There's a
you
special
know,
slot in hell for them.
it is a little wow, that's I can't think of the thought process behind that. That's very confusing, isn't it? Wow. That's wow.
I
Yeah,
know, right? You're
I
fucking speechless.
Yeah, the whole GameStop thing, I kind of thought it was just something that kind of blew over, but I guess they really wanted to keep riding that train even after it was already very dead.
Oh yeah,
And even if it's not the smartest decision, it's definitely controversial enough to get them some, publicity. We're talking about them at least, right? So
yeah,
if that was their goal, I guess they got it. You know what they say, sometimes bad publicity is any publicity is good publicity, right? I don't always agree with that, and I don't think it was a good idea, but I guess we'll see how it turns out. I've kind of been really skeptical on the whole NFT thing since it started. I've seen many people make a lot of money from it, and I've seen about 4 times or 5 times as many people lose a lot of money on it too. So it's just one of those things that I've not gotten into because it just seems very risky and just not worth it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Do you? I know it's a little bit early in our career, but like, I do you want to commit to being like, okay, we will never sell NFTs?
Well, it's one of those things where NFTs are still relatively new. They're only like a year or two old, like since the idea really came into like to be accepted, I guess, right? I think that in my opinion, I'd have to see where it goes from here and if it's a thing that'll die out or if it's here to stay, maybe there is a possibility one day. But I just, as of right now, when it's kind of just first being introduced, I think that I don't see it happening, not unless something big changes and it's becomes more widely accepted, right?
Yeah, I I don't even know if it's about the acceptedness thing. I just think it's really scummy, and I think creators know that it's not economically viable. The people who don't know that it's unviable um are themselves getting screwed over, but I think most creators um know that it's a fucking scam and that the people who buy it are getting fucking scammed. And you know, uh, I myself know a creator. I'm not gonna name names, but they introduced some NFTs, and I had a chat with them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I totally know it's a fucking scam," but she knows that her most of her audience is pretty much smart enough to uh avoid getting scammed. And if the people she is more of a mindset that is, if you're stupid enough to fall for it, you don't deserve to have the money in the first place. And frankly, I could kind of see where she's coming from on that, but at the same
Like
time, I
I
don't want to
I
ruin the brand by associating it with NFTs.
yeah, that's the thing, right? I feel like it's one of those things where, even though it's a scam, people really should know better. Sometimes they don't always, right? That's kind of why we still have like the whole like old people getting scammed all the time over like tech stuff because they're not really tech savvy and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's just kind of like that, but for younger people, I guess, and for older people. I know a lot of like real popular celebrities are getting into it. Like it's become super duper mainstream,
yeah.
and it's one of
Seth,
those things where
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah,
so many people taking advantage of their viewers, their fans, just random people trying to make a quick buck. Obviously, it's scummy, and I feel like those people know what they're doing, right? There's no mistaking it. But you know, it's one of those things where the few people that do make money right off of it, and they know it's a scam, and they can still make a quick buck. Now, I don't blame them, right? I don't say, "Hey, they're the problem." I think the problem really has to do with the people creating the NFTs, and the people that are doing it to intentionally exploit people, right?
yeah. I mean, I think there is another uh mindset again, which is, you know, uh if people are dumb enough to buy them, then they're dumb enough to that then they kind of deserve to get scammed. But at the same time, there is that sense of false advertising where it's like if you advertise this as like something that you're like, oh yeah, this is totally going to be successful. Oh, this is totally going to be a hit. If you willingly advertise like that, you're not going to like that is unethical. But like that's unethical and wrong. But like if you're releasing an NFT and you're not like, oh well, I don't really care about this. And if you don't advertising it, if you're not advertising it as something is going to be successful, then I guess that's fine. But like it comes off as like super scummy when people are like super duper invested in it and like, but they're really not. They're saying like, oh yeah, I'm it's kind of like that T Martin situation with those CS:GO gambling websites, and he didn't sort of like disclose that he was the owner. You know,
Yeah,
like
I definitely like my whole thing with gambling and all that, right? Is I feel like there's a place for it. It's just that with things like that, you have to be very transparent because what is the sad truth is that people don't they take everything at face value, right? They never do their own research. They never look into things that they are not sure about. They're just like, "Oh, he said that it must be 100% true," right? Or it's like whenever people are like, "Oh man, buy an NFT, it'll go to the moon," right? They don't they don't like think farther than that than what they're told, right? You know what I mean? And
oh
that's
yeah,
how people get taken advantage of, right? Nobody looks into things. Nobody does their own research, and those are the people that are getting scammed, right? And I think that it's one of those things where there really should be kind of like a guidebook on the internet, because even though it's been out or the internet's been a thing for a long long time, so many young people just don't know how to properly use the internet. They don't understand that not everything they see is real and things like that, right? And there are a lot of young people as well, or people that are like maybe like our age that have just come into some money, and they just see like, oh man, I can make a lot of money off of this, and then they lose it all, right?
oh yeah,
Or there's like really old people who obviously they're just not really as hip with the internet or whatever, right? I just feel like we just need to there just needs to be more education and more outreach on the dangers of things like this, because some people still don't understand it even after so many controversies that happened. I was I remember it was a while back at this point, right? But I remember there was a whole like problem with Floyd Mayweather. He had like several of the whole NFT scams, right? And it's like people like that, right? That are like so big, they just find it's like a quick cash grab for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like not enough people hold them responsible for the things that they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's like
I would
people
agree with
like
that.
us who can completely see through it, and we know that it's wrong. But there's like a mass majority of people that just are kind of the mindset of that one person I guess you talk to, where they're just like, if they're dumb enough to fall for it, then they should get scammed. And I feel like, sure, I kind of agree with that, right? But at the same time, they just don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're thrown into a situation that they've never experienced before, or that they've never had any prior, experiences with. Of course, there's a good chance that they're going to do something stupid without knowing it, right?
Yeah. I just think, uh, there is some wisdom in the idea of these guys. You need to get you need to kind of learn from your mistakes. I'm not of the I'm
Like
not
I,
really of the school that's like we should coddle these people who don't know what they're doing, who can't use the internet. I'm not. I'm more of the school of thought that says they need to learn from doing. They need to fail. They need to lose money. Right? Like they need to get in these
well,
experiences and learn from them.
I definitely agree that some people respond better whenever they have a bad experience with something. I like one situation that I can personally give to y'all is the whole car situation, right? That I told you I've been dealing with, right?
Yes.
Since that's happened to me, there's a lot that I've learned from the situation on how I would approach it differently, right? And at the time, the situation for me was, I was a first time car buyer. I didn't know really what I was doing. I was using a website that somebody recommended to me, right? I found a seller, I found the car, and I even brought people there that I thought that knew what they were doing to kind of try to help me. And still, there's things that were overlooked, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where even whenever you try to do everything to to make sure that things don't happen, sometimes you can't always catch everything, right? But now that I've been through that, there are certain things that I've learned to like look out for and do this and do that, right? So there is some wisdom in learning from your mistakes, but there's also one of those things where some mistakes are like so easy to avoid that I feel like you really I feel like somebody should inform them like, hey, look into this, look into that, right? You can't
Yeah.
always catch it, like I said with my situation, right? Because I brought both my mom and I brought somebody who was, I thought, familiar enough with cars to help me. Apparently not enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think that I think that pro I think you should be able to draw that line wherever you need to. I just think that for us, I do you want to commit? Do you want to commit to saying we will never release NFTs?
um, it's one of those things where like I don't know what the future holds for NFTs, right? And I don't know if there will ever be a point where we could do an NFT in a way that would be very legitimate, very safe for viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kind of like the whole like Patreon thing, where it's like more to support us than it is to take your money. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I feel like there's a way
exactly.
we can do it like that. Then sure, we could do it. It's just as of right now, especially since we're still growing and since we don't know a lot about the NFT space. Uh, Besides all the horror stories and stuff we hear from it, I definitely don't think it'd be anytime soon. but I would say there's a possibility in the distant future if there's all those requirements that I just said, right?
I think there's going to have to be probably a lot of legal regulation. Um, Legal did a fantastic video about like why NFTs are legally kind of screwed right now, and I think it's a really solid video. I don't think there is ever going to be, at least not for a decade at least, a Congress, like a nationwide Congress that views NFTs as like their top priority, especially with everything else going on. Fuck no. There's no way that Congress is gonna be like, we need to sort out NFTs right now. So I think that maybe in the future if legal regulation changes, but like for the foreseeable future, I think we both are in agreement. You will not get any NFTs from us. No, not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
As of now, I can say our statement or our side is pretty clear on this. You know, we're mostly against them, and we're not going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Our
Uh,
statements may change, but that's it for now. I think. Right?
yeah, for sure. Th- there's actually a really funny story about NFTs.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't know how much you've heard about it, but it's Seth Green. Do you know who he is?
Seth Green. The name's not super familiar now.
Robot Chicken. Does that ring a bell?
I know of Robot Chicken.
He created that. Do you know Family Guy?
Oh, okay. I pulled up a picture. Okay, he is a familiar face.
He was in the Austin Powers movies, but he voices Chris on Family Guy. I think that's probably the one that most people would know him from. I think that's probably the
Oh,
the thing that he is probably best known for, honestly. Um,
interesting. Okay.
but there was a really interesting story about what happened to him with his NFTs. Um, Basically, he was touting a bunch of NFTs. He was like, "Oh, I bought all these NFTs. Oh yeah," and then he got caught in a phishing scandal. And somebody scammed him out of his NFTs, and he publicly went on like social media and was like, please sell me my NFTs back. And the fucking guy did at like an exorbitant rate, and it's fucking hilarious. It is genuinely hilarious. Like
It's
Seth,
always one of those things where it's funny to watch people that are so successful in situations that are just so ridiculous. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, genuinely,
Like,
it was very funny.
and I'm sure Seth Green, he's not a bad guy. I don't think there's any controversies that I've heard about him, but that is a funny situation, isn't it?
I just think that he completely ruined his or his career and reputation on NFT. Well, he didn't ruin his career. He's still on fucking Family Guy. Family Guy's like the biggest animated show right now, bigger than South Park, bigger than fucking anything else. But it's
Yeah.
still really fucking funny to watch someone like ruin their reputation, like make themselves look like an idiot for shilling NFTs, and then get fucking scammed. Like Jesus Christ, you got scammed once by buying the NFTs, and then you got scammed again. It's really funny.
Like it is one thing where like it's so funny how like a lot of actors, right? Like I respect them so much as actors, right? But whenever you see like what side hustles they're in, it's just like the silliest, dumbest thing sometimes. You know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah,
Like there's so many people. Like I think what Gwyneth Paltrow, her little side business is like a real weird one, right? Where she has like it's like
the vagina candle, the
yeah,
vagina candle.
it's like such weird. It's like all spiritual and all that. And like, hey, there's a market for it, go for it, I guess. But it's just some people have like really strange hustles, you know. And I feel like all the people that got NFTs kind of just got it because it was popular. I don't feel like most of them really are deep into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, probably. I would hope not, at least.
I don't know about
But
the Seth Green though. Seems pretty passionate from what you told me
yeah,
though.
so, that is kind of sad. Well, he's a little bit of a boomer, honestly. What is he, like Gen X?
Well, he got scammed, so he must not be that into it, I guess.
Yeah, he's Gen X. He's about as old as my fucking mom, dude. Like, yeah, he's no spring chicken.
where is it? Say 74 is when he was born.
Yeah, yeah. My mom is yeah about the same age as him. So yeah, that oof woof. Like, come on, you have to know NFTs are a bad fucking idea. That should be instinctual. Like,
Well,
you got a
you
fucking you got a JPEG, right? Who is to stop someone from fucking right clicking it, dude? Who is to stop that?
it is
Nobody.
one of those things though where like a lot of people, unlike you and me, like I guess aren't quite as I guess familiar with the internet, and they just like I said, they go off the first thing they hear. They don't think to even do their own research, right? So
Yeah,
to me and you it's obvious, but to some people it's not as obvious, right? So I feel like it, it's unfair to say that it's completely their fault, even though it mostly is. There is a tiny bit of like there's a tiny bit of empathy for them, because
I
they're so uninformed that they
I don't
that they
really
would
have
do
any
something like
empathy
that.
for him. I don't have any empathy for him. I don't
Like I
really
said,
care if
it's
you're
not a
dumb enough
lot of
to fall for
empathy.
that.
It's a very tiny bit of empathy, like the ittiest bit.
I don't know. I honestly, I'm like, sucks to be you. Sucks to be you. Sucks to suck. What do you know?
Yeah, I suppose I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But speaking of stupid things that happen, did I tell you I broke a window today?
No, you failed to mention that one actually. I think.
Yeah. So I wake up this morning at like 7 o'clock to come downstairs, feed the dogs. I let my larger dog Buster out. He's a golden retriever, so he's got a lot of fucking energy. So he's out there, he's running around. He goes over to my garden, right? And we have a little sunroom thing that's like attached to the kitchen.
Hmm.
Uh, Basically, there's like the kitchen counter, and then like a small, and then like a opening, on the left hand side if you're looking into the sunroom, and then there's the glass door on the left side, and then uh, on the forward and to the right there's windows, and out the right window you can see my garden. So my dog goes over to my garden and he starts like eating the leaves, and I'm like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. So I go over to like, like knock on the window, right? Just not even hard, just like pop pop pop, and I must have hit it with like the bony part of my wrist, right? I can see it now. I kind of got like cut up a little bit. I hit it with like the side of my fist, but I guess I must have hit with my wrist a little too much in like a very structurally weak part of the glass. So I hit it once, not even all that hard, and it just boom shatters like instantly. It's so
You know
it's
that
so fucked.
that is a thing. It's always one of those things where there's things like glass or like crystals, right? Where they're so strong, but there's always that one point, like that one invisible point where like you hit it perfectly right and it'll just shatter at the smallest thing. And you just accidentally nailed that one little spot.
Exactly, with like just the wrong part, because like I have a cut like right on, like the part of your wrist that kind of like comes out, like when you're like massaging down the side of your forearm, you can kind of feel that one little spot in your wrist that kind of juts out and it's kind of hard. I must have hit it just with that in the perfect spot, and it just boom, just shattered. I'm really thankful that it only broke one layer, right? Because we have two layers of glass, and it went straight through one, but the other one's still intact. So at least there's not like a fucking draft or anything. But yeah, no, it was really funny. I was like, oh shit, oh shit, that's not good.
It
Oh
would be
yeah,
you though. It would be you to just accidentally just shatter a pane of glass.
I don't know my own strength. I'm fucking strong, dude. I don't know if you noticed. I'm fucking strong. I'm a
Well,
I'm a pretty fucking strong dude.
I feel like, just your body type is like lends to strength more than mine. So you're, yeah, probably stronger than me. But
Yeah, if we got into a fight, I would fucking nail you, dude.
well, like I feel like my body type's more like agility based. You know what I mean? Like I definitely like whenever I was in the character creator screen, I chose
You spec into
agility.
Dex. You spec
Yeah,
into Dex.
yeah. I spec into the dex. You spec into like strength and and defense.
Constitution. I hit the con save pretty well. Except I'm not. I'm really not, you know? Like I take physical injuries pretty well, but like I get sick a lot. I have really bad allergies, so I have really
Ah,
shit constitution.
so bad constitution, lots of defense. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. I have
I
good
feel like
aim though. I'm good
I
at
feel like
aiming.
I don't get sick that often, so maybe my constitution is high and my defense is low. Granted,
Yeah.
I tend to avoid most encounters that would give me the ability to get injured, but I whenever I get injured, it happens a lot in situations where I can get injured.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure.
Like uh whenever I used to go rock climbing, I want to go back to rock climbing. It's just not very financially viable since until I get an income.
Yeah.
But whenever I went to rock climbing, I learned very quickly that I cannot go to the rock climbing gym without like full length pants, even if I am in Texas and it's really hot, because I scraped up my knee and my leg so many times, those few times that I went, off of like the smallest little things like on the walls. And it would always hurt so much.
Oh yeah. I I remember uh yeah. I remember I actually asked you you and a couple of my other friends to kind of tell me what stats you thought I had, right? Like based on the Fallout one cuz I was going to do a challenge where it was like can I beat Fallout as myself and I have to make it like as accurate to me as possible. But
Yeah.
like I forget what you said. I couldn't find the note anymore. I must have deleted it, and I forget which one you gave me. But I remembered that a lot of people said that luck was my number one. A lot of people said I was very lucky.
I could see that. Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
I
it
feel
all
like
depends.
I consider myself like probably like right below average on luck. I'm one of those people that's not very like into the whole like good luck bad luck thing, but if I was, I would say that I am leaning towards bad luck more than good luck.
I can kind of see that.
I feel like bad things happen to me much more often than good things happen to me, if that makes sense, right? It's like a 2-to-1 ratio almost.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that.
I don't know what your luck ratio is, but luck's definitely probably one of my lower stats if I had to say it.
Yeah, I guess it honestly just depends on like what do you think is important, what are your personal wants and desires, right? Because there are certain I'm sure there are things for you just as there are things for me where like you have them and it's good, but there are things you don't that you don't have but you want more, and you'd be like, well, I could take or leave this, but I really want this and I don't have it. I think there are a lot of things for me that are sort of like that. Um, yeah, I think that's sort of where I would consider the luck debate. But yeah, you know, I think
Well, it's
that's
one of
kind
those
of
things where maybe it's not that I'm unlucky, maybe it's just that I'm around luckier people than me.
maybe
and
that
that
could be it.
and it's one of those things because like I see something good happen to my brother or like this person or that person, right? And I'm like, man, why doesn't things like happen that those things happen to me more often? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I
and I
mean,
feel like I'm unlucky because they don't happen. Maybe that's kind of more what it is, because I feel like it isn't always bad things that happen to me. It's just that not good things happening to me. You know what I'm trying to say?
maybe, but it could also be a matter of perspective. It could also be a matter of perspective. Maybe you just don't know. I think that's all. I think it's all just a matter of perspective. I think we are
Yeah,
lucky in certain ways and we are unlucky in others. And I think we have I think there are good opportunities coming your way that maybe you don't even recognize. Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
I definitely have some things that I'm lucky for. And then there's. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing like super lucky that I can immediately call to whenever I say that. There's like small things, like tiny things. And I can't
I
even think of a single one of those either, but I'm
I
sure
can
there's
think
something.
of one. This episode has a sponsor, so we're gonna go over to the ad section. We're gonna go talk about our sponsor real quick, and we'll be back afterwards. We're gonna talk about the new Marvel drop stuff that happened today. We're gonna go over our thoughts on that because there's a bunch of stuff at Comic Con. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thank you. Hey guys, so it's the middle of summer vacation, pretty much for most of the country, and parents are dealing with their kids probably a lot more than they normally would, given that they're not at school right now. And sometimes things happen. Parenting is a really hard job, and boy, do I have the service for you. This episode has been generously sponsored by Skunk Nugget Parenting, owned by my own mother. Thank you very much for sponsoring. If you're having trouble parenting, if you need better help, connecting with your kids, uh, or sort of if you have any anxieties about, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing a good job? I cannot recommend the service highly enough because I was a little shit if you didn't know, and she somehow got through it, and she's had experience dealing with a rotten little bastard like me, and she can definitely help you with a lot of your parenting advice needs and all those sort of hard questions that you might not have. And yeah, make sure to check out skunknuggetparenting.com. I'll say again, that is skunknuggetparenting.com. Thank you again for sponsoring this podcast. It's very appreciated. And back to the episode. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for sitting through the ad read. Very appreciated. Remember to go check them out. Yeah. Uh, a lot of things just got announced Marvel wise. San Diego Comic Con, I think, just ended. Or no. I think today, because today's Sunday. I think today is going to be the last day. So all the Marvel stuff got announced yesterday. All the teasers and stuff, and I want to talk about that real quick. Um, uh, I have like a full list of everything that's gonna happen up until like 2025 right here, and I'm gonna read it out. If I
Okay.
miss something, fuck you. Here we go. Uh, so first thing or next thing that's coming out is a group of shorts, like short content episodes. I am Groot. So Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper and Guardians and shit. That sort of thing.
What's Vin Diesel's for all of this?
He's Groot.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like for somebody that just says Groot, you know what I mean? Like, why such a I didn't realize he was such a high profile actor for just somebody that says Groot over and over. But
He was the Iron Giant too, dude. Yeah, fuck yeah. Vin
what
Diesel
is?
is Groot. How do you not
Wait,
know that?
wait. Okay, remind me again. How many lines did the Iron Giant have that he got played by Vin Diesel? I don't even
The
remember the Iron Giant speaking that much.
he had a couple lines. There was at the end he was like Superman, and he died.
It's
Very sad.
it's crazy that Vin Diesel is landing these very, very, I would say not that difficult roles. If you just have to say I am Groot in different tones,
I don't know.
but
I feel like it was. I feel like it takes some.
of course it's not like easy, but I feel like it's not particularly hard either, Especially we're talking about actors like that. For
Well,
him, it's probably not that hard, is what I'm trying to say.
well, remember that he is not acting with the other actors. He doesn't know precisely what tone he needs to go for. He just needs to, but he needs to hit it every time, and he does. I would say Groot is like maybe not like the emotional heart of all the Guardians movies, but Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 he was, he wasn't fantastic in Infinity War, but he was all right, and he was okay in Love and Thunder. It was kind of lackluster anyway.
I didn't
But
mind him in Infinity War. I feel like he had his moments.
yeah, I just think that him grabbing the axe wasn't a moment for Vin Diesel. I think that was just more like for the character, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. I think, but yeah, that's coming out on
So
August 10th.
those are all just straight to Disney Plus, though, right? Or are they on YouTube, or how's that work?
That's Disney Plus.
All right. Okay.
After that is going to be She-Hulk. Tatiana Maslany, I believe, is how you say it. She was on Orphan Black. Apparently did a good job there. I don't know. I haven't watched it. But yeah, she's going to be playing She-Hulk. Uh, Mark Ruffalo is returning as Hulk. Uh, uh, what's his name? Tim Roth is returning as Abomination.
Oh, they're gonna
Wong is
bring
going
back
to be there.
Abomination.
Daredevil's going to be there. Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
I
Uh,
feel like Daredevil is a character that they've already introduced in a couple of the movies and stuff, right? They just haven't like named him yet.
uh, no,
'Cause
no, he was that. Uh,
was
he
I thought
had
he was
he
in
had several
Spider-Man, right?
shows. He had several
Oh, okay. So
seasons of a show.
okay, okay, forgive me, but I forget sometimes if the Netflix stuff is canon or not, because I
Oh
feel
no, it
like
is. It
it
is.
feels disconnected and separate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hang on. So some stuff is kind of changed. Like the order of some stuff has changed as of late. I'm trying to get the thing here. I think Phase 4 is going to end with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever in November, right? So that I think that's going to be after. That's after She Hulk. So they've released their summer movie. Now they're going to release their fall movie,
I am
and
curious
then
how they're gonna write it, because I don't think that they've addressed the whole different actor, or that, like, how they're not gonna have the same actor.
uh
In it,
the,
do they have an in-universe explanation for that yet, or no?
he I I think he's fucking dead. I think they just killed him in universe. I think they killed
They just killed him in universe. Okay, I
T'Challa.
guess that would make
T'Challa. Yeah.
sense, right? I'm interested to hear what the story is behind it, though.
So it's going to be about a war between Wakanda and Atlantis. And
Well, no, I mean, like, I'm interested to hear like the in-universe
oh,
explanation of how they killed him off.
probably it's going to be blamed on Atlantis, and they're going to go to war over it. But in reality, it was someone else that blamed the Atlanteans. They had to go to war. They're going to fight for a bit, and then they're going to be friends. It's yeah. To paraphrase, uh, the lovely Weekly Planet, It's the fantastic trope of they fight for a bit and then they're mates. You know, that sort of
Ah,
thing.
the classic.
Yeah, it's like Batman versus Superman, baby. They fight for 10 minutes and then they're mates. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah. So
Ugh.
Wakanda Forever is gonna come out in November, and that's gonna be the end of Phase 4. Phase
Okay.
5 is going to be. Oh yeah, there's also gonna be a Halloween special with Gael Garcia Bernal of all people. Okay, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and then that's going to be the end of Phase 4. Phase 5 is going to have so starting in like 2023, there's going to be Secret Invasion, starring the Skrulls and Nick Fury.
All right.
Uh, Guardians Volume 3.
Okay.
Echo, the show about. Do you remember Echo from Hawkeye? Um,
Echo.
the deaf
Not
the
really.
deaf girl who tried to kill Hawkeye and other Hawkeye.
Hawkeye and other Hawkeye. Oh, you mean the like the Hawkeye show?
Yes,
The
the
deaf.
the deaf girl.
Oh, I
Yes,
remember the deaf girl. Is that what her name is?
uh, uh,
Echo?
in the comics, yes. Echo,
Oh,
and
okay. All right.
like her whole thing is that she's kind of like Taskmaster, where she can echo everyone else's fighting style. That's her whole shtick. Daredevil and uh, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin are going to return.
So
Um,
Kingpin's gonna return. I wonder how they're gonna explain that in universe though, because didn't they already like kill him off?
they shot him off screen, which means he's not actually dead.
Ah, of
Um,
course, it's not real unless it happens on screen. Of course,
and
movie
even
magic.
if it does happen on screen, there's always some bullshit explanation.
Hey, they
Um,
can just go to a different universe now. Nothing's off the table anymore, right?
it isn't. We're officially in the multiverse saga.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah. After that is going to be Loki season 2. Very exciting.
yes, very exciting.
Fuck. I feel like I'm
I
missing something. I feel like I'm missing something.
I'm curious, like when they're gonna bring Loki back into like the movies, or if he's gonna have a part in the movies.
Okay, all right. I did forget something. I did fucking forget something. My bad.
Okay.
Quantumania is going to be first. So Wakanda Forever is going to be the last one. Quantumania is going to be Phase 5. Begin with and Kang is going to be the main villain there, and Kang is going to be, I think, the main villain sort of throughout. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 2023. That's gonna be February 17th is the release date for that. Sorry, we forgot to mention that. So after that is gonna be Loki during the summer, and then the Marvels,
The Marvel.
uh,
Yeah.
which is going to have musical elements, I believe. Um,
I am curious about this musical elements now that you're talking about it.
uh, I've been
I
watching Miss Marvel. I've been kind of late to that because I was kind of cautious about it being sort of bad because it's like, you know,
the only
it's a high
thing
school kid, you know.
the only thing that I haven't watched that may or may not be vital for like future Marvel stuff is Morbius, because I
It's
don't know
not.
if Morbius
It's
is ever
not.
going to become
It's
like a.
not. It won't.
I
Trust
had a
me, it
I have
won't,
a
dude.
I
They're
know,
not
and
going to touch Morbius. They are
I feel
not
like
going to touch it, dude. Trust
that's the
me.
thing. I'm pretty sure they're not going to after what happened, but they probably wrote the movie in such a way where they kind of could, right? So
No, it's
I
officially in another universe. It's officially in another universe.
so it's a fish, but I thought it was in the Venom universe, and isn't the
Yes,
Venom
the
universe
Venom.
kind of tied into like
Venom.
the Marvel universe a little bit though
No,
through No Way Home?
Venom got pulled into the universe in one of the end credit scenes in one of their movies, and then they got sent back to their universe in the end credits for No Way Home. So
So okay,
that
so there's no way that there's gonna be like some sort of interaction again in the future, though.
there is a Venom symbiote in this universe now, but
I
it's not going to be Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay. So they're just gonna try recast
Yeah,
everything for the Marvel. It
and
still seems
Vulture got sent to that universe too, but
okay.
that's it.
So wait, Vulture. Okay, I didn't know that. So Vulture got sent to the Venom universe now.
Yes,
Whatever happened to like Scorpion from the end of Homecoming?
it's dropped. It's not gonna happen.
The Scorpion thing
It's
never
not gonna
happened.
happen.
I thought there was gonna
It
be like a
won't.
whole Sinister Six thing happening, but yeah.
In that universe, it's gonna be in the Sony universe, so they're gonna fuck it up because they always do because they're idiots.
I have to
Um,
say, like Sony, like they've done like some good things, but I feel like whenever it comes to movies, it's real hit or miss.
yeah,
It's not as consistent as like Marvel with terms of quality.
yeah.
Because like the
Anywho,
Venom
we got
movies
more
are
shows. We,
okay.
there's a lot of things that got announced.
I
We can't
I
slow
thought you
down.
said it. I thought you said it was all. Well,
No,
that's
we
fine.
cannot slow down. We got to keep
All
going. We got to go
right,
fast
all right. We'll talk about that later, I guess, if we get a chance.
if we get a fucking chance. By the way, what if season 2 is early 2023 as well? Forgot to mention that. Um,
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah. So we were on Loki season 2. Sort of after the second quarter into the third quarter. Ironheart is going to be in the fourth quarter, 2023. Blade, November 2023. Uh, I'm going back and forth between the films list and the television list. Agatha, Coven of Chaos. They renamed her show from House of Harkness to Coven of Chaos, and uh, and then Daredevil, Born Again. So it's going to be a new Daredevil um, type thing. So it's going to be a continuation to the show, but kind of a reboot slash sequel. And then after that, there's going to be Captain America: New World Order in May of 2024, and Thunderbolts in July of 2024. Uh,
So Falcon is like forever just Captain America now.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So there's no
Chris Evans
Falcon
said so.
anymore, right?
There is actually. So, that guy who was sort of his like military contact in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he now has his wings. He now has Falcon wings. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so there
So
is a Falcon. There is a Captain America who has wings, and there is
isn't
Bucky.
there also like what's the other guy's name? The other Captain America. Isn't he like a villain character?
Oh yes, so Isaiah Bradley, I think, uh, is his name. I'm not
I
quite sure
forget
off the top of my head.
what the comic book name was. I read it one time, but
But yeah, there was another Captain America introduced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who is a young actor that they made up to look old, sort of how they did Chris Evans at the end of Endgame, which makes me think that we might be getting some flashback scenes with him. Yeah,
yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what the name was that they used though.
that it's Isaiah Bradley or Bradshaw or something. I don't know, but uh, again, we can't slow down. Um, that was phase 4. Now, or that was most of phase 5. Marvel Studios Fantastic Four will be in November 2024. And then we will be getting 2 Avengers movies in the same year.
Oh,
We are
really?
getting Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and Avengers: Secret Wars in 2025. Uh, yeah, that's, and I think that's it. Oh yeah, also, fall 2023. There's going to be continuation to the 90s cartoon of the X-Men, and that's it. That's the rest of it.
I
So
am
how do we feel about
excited.
that?
Well, I'm excited for like the future Marvel stuff they have. I feel like for the past couple movies, they've obviously just kind of been setting things up for like the bigger story that's going to actually happen in Avengers, probably. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how it unfolds, right? Because we haven't really got a lot of payoff from the shows yet. Besides, I guess like the payoff from WandaVision, but besides that, we haven't had any payoffs from the other shows really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and these movies are kind of all like leading somewhere, but we haven't seen like exactly where yet. I'm sure they're gonna tie it all together with the whole Kang thing, because he seems like he's gonna be like the first Avengers movie, right?
Yeah.
And we have what a Black Panther movie, an Ant-Man movie, and then is there another movie, or is that the only two before?
What do you mean? What are you asking? Sorry,
So
I
so
had to look at something.
so we have a Black Panther movie, an
Yes.
Ant-Man movie, a
Yes.
Guardians movie, and then the Avengers movie. Is that right? Or is
No, the
there?
Avengers movie's in 2025. Both of those Avengers movies
Oh,
are in 2025.
okay. So we have a
N-
couple of movies and several
we have the
shows.
rest of this phase, and then most of Phase 5 until those two come out.
Okay, because the way you made it sound like it was gonna be like 2024, 2025 seems far. Like, yeah, that's a
No,
lot farther away than I thought.
I don't think you were paying attention that much.
You didn't give me dates, all right?
I did give you dates.
If you give me dates, I didn't listen. I'm not gonna lie.
I told you you weren't paying attention. No. So in between
Okay,
now and then, we have and you got to pay attention here.
okay. Well, the whole point that I'm trying to get to, though, the dates don't really matter. The whole point I'm trying to get to, right, is that for the next little while, I feel like each Marvel movie won't really give us a whole bunch, right? They're each gonna give us a little by little, and eventually we'll see the bigger picture. But it's gonna take a while to ramp up. I feel like I am enjoying the ride, but it is a little bit of a slow ride, especially consider how the pace of everything, especially like the movie stuff, it's really slowed down after COVID, and I feel like we're finally starting to get back to like the normal pace.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've already gotten back there or if we still have a ways to go, but it's it's starting to get back into the flow. And let
Yeah,
me tell
I
you,
think.
I actually recently got like an AMC membership because I'm planning on watching some movies more often, right?
Yeah,
So I'm excited for everything that's coming out. Uh, I think I don't know if I mentioned this, but I even got the popcorn bucket. I think I might have. Did I tell you the popcorn bucket thing?
I think you mentioned it. Yeah,
Yeah, like I'm getting real into it. I feel like you know I've gotten to a point where I can spend the very little amount of money on a membership,
yeah.
and
We
I'm
used
excited.
to get the popcorn buckets. I don't know if they're doing them up here because obviously Illinois is taking COVID way more seriously than Texas is. What a fucking shocker! I know. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Like I
Obviously,
don't know
they're.
how it is for you, right? But for me, I take a mask everywhere I go, but I never wear it unless I'm told to.
I've stopped taking them to places. Mostly because I don't fucking leave the house. But even when I do, I don't. I don't even bring one. I didn't even bring one on my. All right, I guess I do. I guess I do have one on my car's mirror, but I don't. I've stopped bringing them. I've gotten COVID, so I have the antibodies. I survived. Congratulations, go me. Um, feel pretty cool about that. But yeah, so I survived COVID. I have the antibodies, and I'm all the way vaccinated. I'm it's it don't even fucking bother me. Like I'm not afraid of it anymore. you know, like it does still fucking affect people. So like get vaccinated and shit, but like I'm fucking over it, to be honest. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. Like I got the vaccine, I got infected,
Yeah.
you know. And if I don't have to wear a mask, I don't. On the off chance that I do have to wear a mask, I might bring it, but most of the time, Not really, you know.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
hey, hopefully the whole Marvel thing pans out. I'm excited for it. I I I feel like I'm along for the ride, even if it's a little slow. You know, I'm excited.
I I feel like the quality is going down. I'm still excited for some of these things. Daredevil, Born Again, very excited. Miss Marvel, I'm like midway through episode 4, but Miss Marvel has really surprised me with its quality. It's pretty good. I wasn't expecting all that much because I expected it to be like a high school drama, like I said, but it's actually handling it pretty well. They've still got like 2.5 more episodes to go, so let's see if they stick the landing. But
I feel like after managing my expectations, after Doctor Strange, it's
mm-hmm.
become one of those things where like I can enjoy it a little bit more, right? Because I
Yeah,
guess it's one of those things where Doctor Strange introduced like the multiverse concept, and I was just kind of really hoping they would like go 100%, like do everything that they possibly could with it. But I obviously understand they're trying to save some stuff for the future, right?
yeah,
So it's one of those things where you just got to manage your expectations, right? Because I think that I just wanted so much from that movie that no matter what, I was probably gonna be disappointed, you know.
yeah. I just
And I
I
feel
don't
like
think I think they're moving in the wrong direction in terms of like we're going to make everyone all the directors we're going to uh, it reminds me of like leaving something out in like a sandstorm and like you've got a nice like plank of wood and you leave it out in the sandstorm and then once you go and get it all the edges have been like blasted smooth, like it's completely like sanded off. So all the directors they don't have like they're not allowed to use their individual styles anymore, like Raimi got to do a little bit. um what the chick who directed Eternals, the one who won the Oscar for best director last year, she got to do a little bit of that, I guess. But Taika did not get to do it at all with Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder it got really 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 bad. Like in terms of like it like going from Ragnarok to Love and Thunder, there was like a huge like loss of personality there. So that
I
one's kind of
definitely feel
gone.
like it's one of those things where like moving forward, they obviously have like an idea, a structure that they want to follow. So it is a little. I can see how it's a little restricting if you're somebody working with Disney and Marvel and all that,
It's
because
not it's
there's
not even the structure though, right? Like like the we need to introduce this and this, right? That's fine. You can still do that uh while still having like your own director style, right? But they don't anymore. Right? It's the style that we're losing. It's the artistic elements, right? Uh like uh I like the one thing that we got to keep from Raimi pretty much was like some horror elements, some gore, and a Bruce Campbell cameo. Like that's basically it. And like I think one of the main things to keep in mind for I guess the rest of this for a while at least is to keep in mind that if you're going in to see a specific movie directed by a specific director and you're like, oh, I want to see this because Ryan Coogler is directing Black Panther, for example, right? Like if you're going in and you're like, oh, I want to see this because it's a Coogler movie, or not Coogler movie, you're gonna be disappointed
well,
because
I'm kind of just under the impression that I feel like I don't see a movie and instantly compare it to something else, or have my expectations set by or like previous entries into a franchise and all that. I just try to see what it's worth by itself, and I feel like that's how I feel about like a lot of things, like video games, movies, all that. I see how it fits by itself and see how it fits in like the grander scheme, and I can definitely see that in the grander scheme of like the whole series of Thor movies. Love and Thunder might not completely fit the mold, or not might not be as good as it could be, but I feel like by itself, it's not a bad movie. It's all right. I feel like it's not as bad as maybe you would think about it, right? And I
I
also don't go
mean,
see movies because of directors. That's just me, though. I don't
I
know.
I think that is just you. I think that absolutely
I
is.
feel like there's lots of people out there, not just me, that they go to see a movie because it's either part of something that they like, or it just sounds like an interesting movie.
No,
I do have to say I do watch movies sometimes because of actors, not because of directors though. Usually,
I think we've gotten to a point nowadays where uh where we're sort of like most people are more cognizant of directors nowadays. More people are like, "Oh, this is a J.J. Abrams movie," or "Oh, this is a fucking Sam Raimi movie." People were really excited to go see a Sam Raimi movie in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness because he's a fucking prolific director. The Evil Dead series plus the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. People were really excited about that. So, he's got like a specific style and tone and feel that, I think a lot more people are being cognizant of that. I don't know if that was more of a thing or less of a thing back in the day because, I didn't live back in like the 80s and 70s. I reckon there were like a couple directors who were kind of like that, but like nowadays it is the director has become a more of a selling point than it used to be. And I think Marvel sort of mandating this style all the time doesn't really like I think they're doing themselves a disservice. Obviously they want to keep somewhat of a consistent tone, but like it it makes it really really hard to get excited for a new Marvel movie every time. Like around the Eternals, I was really starting to feel the fatigue. I was like, fuck, I really don't want to see this movie. I had heard it was bad, and even then I was like, who fucking cares about the Eternals? And then, I got my rejuvenation with Hawkeye and Spider-Man and Moon Knight. Spider-Man really, yeah, Spider-Man really helped out. they they made a really really good decision by releasing Spider-Man right after Eternals. The the
hey
the
man, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man's still like number one grossing, isn't it? All
uh
time?
of the Marvel movies, I'm not sure,
No,
but
of all movies of all
what?
time. Yeah, like let me just you just
Not
keep
even
talking.
close. No, Avatar retook the spot.
Really retook
Endgame
it?
was, yeah, but no, Endgame had it for a little while, but Avatar retook it because they re-released it in China.
Oh wait, no, it's number six. It's pretty high up. It's not as high as I thought it was though.
No, that's a pretty fucking big jump, right? Because it's like that there's
I thought
five other movies in the way,
I
bro.
heard it was two or one, but there are a couple.
No,
Yeah, when did Avatar retake it? I thought that Endgame was
uh,
actually on top still.
so Endgame So I forget when the fucking re-release was. It was, I think they took it. Endgame had it for a little while. Endgame had it for about like 6 months to a year, I think. It they did a little re-release of Endgame as well to kind of boost the numbers. And then it took over Titanic. It's sitting at 2.7, almost 2.8 billion, and Avatar is at 2.8, almost at 2.85 billion. That Chinese re-release really did
Look, I
cinch
don't
in.
know if this is a controversial opinion or not, right? But I don't even remember really liking Avatar that much. I don't I just feel like I don't understand why it's so high. You know, I think it's an all right movie. I
It
didn't think it was the best movie of all time though.
it's not about being the best movie of all time, but it's a really uh huge thing. It did a lot of really good stuff, and it is sort of groundbreaking in a way. You know,
I feel like for the
let
time that it came out, maybe, but I don't know if it holds up as well today. You know what I mean?
I
Maybe
let
that's
us
just
not
me.
forget. Okay, I will come to bat for Avatar because I rewatched it
I haven't rewatched it in a
senior
long
year of high
time,
school.
so
Senior year of high school, I decided to rewatch it. I was watching it in study hall. I was like, oh, okay. It's not bad. It's. I will remind y'all, it was nominated for 9 Oscars. 9. That that is a lot of fucking Oscars to be nominated for. Uh,
maybe I just never got the appeal of it. I don't know. Again, I haven't watched it in a long time, so maybe I'm just misremembering. But like I said, I just don't remember it being as groundbreaking as I guess it was.
I mean, it was nominated for fucking Best Picture in uh at the 2009 2000. I guess it was held in 2010, but it's about 2009 uh Oscars, and it had some fucking stiff competition, right? Because
Mhm.
I'll remember some. Because I'll remind you some of the movies that came out that year were The Blind Side, Hurt Locker, District 9, Inglorious Bastards came out that year. Up came out that year. Yeah. So it was nominated for, if it was nominated for Best Picture in that year, you know, it was fucking good. And it won 3 Oscars. Cause it was a really groundbreaking movie, you know? Like all that CGI stuff, the 3D stuff like that. Uh it had some really good cinematography and uh really great art style, and it won for cinematography, art direction, and visual effects, obviously, because of course it was gonna fucking win for visual effects. Look at it. It's the most visual effects movie ever. Yeah. Avatar is a good ass movie, and people thought it was a good ass movie back in the day, and it still is a pretty solid movie. It's a simple narrative, yeah, but it's got spectacle, and it's absolutely gorgeous and mind blowing. And whenever you look at it, your fucking eyes just roll back into your fucking head because it's so fucking gorgeous. I
Okay, well, I can
absolutely an
admit,
Avatar apologist.
I admit, it was nice and all those things, right? I am a little worried that that won't be enough for a sequel, though.
Oh yeah, I I am the first to admit that I am not exactly excited for Avatar
Yeah.
2.
You see, I feel like we can agree on that at least, right? I feel like it's one of those movies that maybe as a standalone is fine, but as a series may not work as well.
Yeah. Um Avatar Land at Disney World is pretty cool from what I've heard, you know. And that's kind of like a sequel to Avatar 1. So that's kind
I
of
wouldn't
cool.
I wouldn't consider a section of a theme park a sequel to a movie,
It's
but
a sequel, and it's pretty cool. Okay,
that's like saying
that's what I've
Aquaman
heard.
4D is a sequel to Aquaman. I don't. That's
It
not how.
is. It is. Shut up. Your mama. Eat
I
shit.
I I have to say I never watched Aquaman, but I saw Aquaman 4D,
I hate you. I hate you so
and I got
much.
the gist of the movie. You know what I mean? Except it had a little bit more water in it.
Fuck you. How about fuck you? But anywho, I think you said you had a I think you said you had a big red button. Is it time to big red button?
I think it's around that time.
Yeah, let's
I
do
got
it.
an interesting one here. I haven't actually figured out my answer yet, but we'll start with your answer first. It is you can shapeshift into anyone you want as many
Okay.
times as you want, right?
All right.
But you can never turn back into yourself.
Okay. But I can continuously shapeshift into anyone else, right?
So you can be anyone in the world, or I guess
Yes.
at any time you can change it to anybody else anytime you want, right?
So I
You
can
can,
change
but you'll
from
never.
myself into anything else, and I can return to anything else, but I can never turn back into myself. So I can transform
Yeah,
into literally any. Did it say anything or anyone? Sorry.
I think it was anyone. I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's that powerful. No, I think it's anyone.
Okay. I think
Is it worth not being able to ever be yourself though, right? You obviously can't
that
ever. It's one of those things where like what can you really accomplish as somebody else?
a
And
lot
all
of things. A
you can
lot of
accomplish a lot of
things.
things. You have to have a plan. It's one of those things where again, you have to have a plan. And
If you're
also you it
genetically identical to them in every way, you know, with the increasing amount of biometric stuff replacing passwords and shit, you could actually do a lot more if you can imitate someone's fingerprints and retina and DNA and all that. Like that shit is going to be increasingly more useful. I think it would drastically alter um anyone's life, but like it would drastically alter like what I want to do with my life because I want to be, you know, I name we named the podcast incredibly influential and highly successful for a fucking reason. I want to have that sort of like influence and like I want to leave a mark on the world and make people remember me for being me. But if
but that's the
I
thing, you'll never be you though. You'll always be somebody else.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? Like it would vastly alter the um the sort of trajectory of my life after that. But there's so many things you could do with that. Like you could be the world's greatest spy. You could walk into anywhere and fit right in because if you're a perfect like genetic match, it yeah, people don't believe in like shapeshifters or anything like that. So it's like that it you would have like a huge advantage. And I think that would be really cool and really useful. So I would say no, but if I did it wouldn't be a bad thing and I could definitely make it work. So I'm sort of on the fence where it's like I could take it or leave it.
I feel like I kind of agree with you. It's one of those things where I see the benefits and there's so much you could do with it. It's just that you kind of would lose that sense of self, right? Because you'd never be anybody you'd never be yourself anymore, right? You'd always be somebody else. You could always change who you are, but you can never change back into who uh who you used to be, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think just ask me
Right.
on a different
Like
day and you might get a different answer.
yeah, it's one of
Um
those it's situational and I
yeah.
feel like it's one of those things that like I could say yes to, but I don't want to commit my entire life to being somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right. I feel like that'd be exhausting if you could never be yourself again. Right.
yeah. Uh, Again, just it depends. Ask me on a different day, and you might get a different answer. But I would say not today.
Yeah.
Um,
Not today for me either. You know, if I'm ever in like a
yeah,
financial hole, though, hey,
yeah, yeah.
I
I
would
I think
die.
that's
Then I would be somebody else.
yeah. Yeah. I think that could be a pretty useful ability. But yeah, take it or leave it. I think that's sort of uh it for all we had to say, isn't it? Did you
Yeah,
have
I
anything
feel
else you want to add?
like. Oh well, let's we can do our plugs.
Yeah. We have a new Patreon up. Very very excited about that. It's I believe the address should be patreon.com/IIHS podcast. So go over there. We
And if there's some place we can link it, we'll try to do that as well. Can you link it on Spotify and Apple and all that, or
uh I'm not sure. I think we'll drop a tweet about it on Twitter. Um Go follow us on Twitter as well at IIHS podcast. All one word. And yeah, make sure you follow us there. Maybe consider going over to Patreon. We have 2 tiers up right now. The first tier is uh, you get a shout out in every episode we record while you're subscribed, and then the second tier is you get that shout out, but you also get ad free episodes as soon as they're edited together instead of waiting until Tuesday when they go up normally. So that could be a pretty cool thing if you want to hear episodes of the podcast without ads and early. So yeah, consider it. But I don't have anything else to say. I've been incredibly influential.
and I've been highly successful.
We will see you guys next week. Thank you.